Hello Pythonistas on YouTube wanting to learn about Python and web scraping. Welcome to another Python web scraping tutorial. And today we are going to talk about Scrapy, how to scroll with Scrapy. And this is going to be a very intro and basic video about Scrapy. So one of the challenges of writing web crawlers is that you're often performing the same tasks again and again. Find all links on a page, evaluate the difference between internal and external links, go to new pages, etc. These basic patterns are useful to know about and to be able to write from scratch, but there are options if you want something else to handle the details for you. And Scrapy is a Python library that handles much of the complexity of finding and evaluating links on a website, crawling domains or lists of domains with ease. And the good news is that multiple versions of Python like 2.7 and 3.x usually work well when installed on the same machine. So if you want to use Scrapy for a project but also want to use various other Python 3 scripts, you shouldn't have a problem doing both. And the Scrapy website offers the tool for download from its website, as well as instructions for installing Scrapy with third-party installations managers such as pip. Let me get to the correct. So here's the link where you can download it, and you can also install it via pip. So although writing Scrapy crawlers is relatively easy, there is a small amount of setup that needs to be done for each crawler. So I assume that you have Scrapy installed correctly. So if we want to create a new new Scrapy project, go to where you want to be in the directory, and you just Scrapy start project, the name of the project. That's the name of our project. Now we have a wiki spider. I have done some testing before doing this tutorial, and in here we should, so wiki spider is the name of our project. This creates a new directory. In the directory the project was created in with the title wiki spider. Inside this directory there's the following structure. You have the Scrapy config, you have the init.py, you have the pipelines, settings, middlewares, etc. I'm not going into too deeply into Scrapy in this tutorial. I highly recommend that you have a look at the Scrapy documentation. I have played around it for several last days, and it's quite useful to get to know it. I played around with the tutorials and etc. It's been quite fun. So this is just going to be related to our wiki scraping project. So bear with me. So in order to create a crawler, we will add a new file which is called articles.json .py to our wiki spider and into our spider folders. And in the spider folder we create our file, and there should also be an items.py file, and it should be edited to look like the following. From Scrapy, import item field, then we change this to article spider and spider. Nope, that's wrong. This is just an item. And here we define fields for our item, and in this case we just need the title. Save this file. So each Scrapy item object represents a single page on the website. Obviously you can define as many fields as you would like, URL, content, header, image, etc., but we're simply collecting the title field from each page for now. And in the newly created article spider, articlespider.py file, we write the following. From Scrapy, we import spider, and from the wiki spider dot items import article. That's the item. Then the class. This is the name of the spider. These are the allowed domains that we want to crawl. Domains, spell it correctly. The start URLs. Slash wiki slash main page, and put another link, which is for the Python programming language. Put that in here as well. And then we need our parse function. Title, which is response.xpath, and I highly recommend you to check out any XPath tutorial to work with if you want to work with Scrapy. It's really useful. And we want the first item, extract that, title, we print out something and we print out the title with it. Item's title is title. Return the item, and to run this you have to go to the command line and go into our main folder. So the name of this object here in our class is article spider is different from the name of the directory WikiSpider, indicating that this class is is responsible for spidering only through article pages under the broader category of WikiSpider. For large sites with many types of content, you might have separate Scrapy items for each type, for example, blog posts, press releases, articles, etc. Each with different fields, but all running under the same Scrapy project. So in this case, we can run this article spider from inside the main WikiSpider directory by typing Scrapy crawl article. Hopefully this will work. And it should be here, somewhere here. Yeah, this is it. Title is, so this calls the spider by the item name of article, not in the class or file name, but the name defined in the line name equals article in article spider here. So along with some debugging information, this should print out the two lines. Title is main page and title is programming language. So the scraper goes to the two pages listed as the start URLs, gathering information, and terminates. So not much of a crawler, but using Scrapy in this way can be useful if you have a list of URLs you need to scrape. To turn it into a fully fledged crawler, we need to define a set of rules that Scrapy can use to seek out new URLs on each page it encounters. So let's rewrite our code a little bit. Get rid of this. This should be the same. And from Scrapy link extractors, we need to import link extractor. Article spider, we need to use the crawl spider. And allow domains is this, so we can get rid of this one. And then we need to create some rules. Rules are it's like rule and link extractor allow equals starting with wiki and not having colon in between. And just to callback function is parse item and follow is true for links, and we need to call this parse items item. This should be the same, rest should be the same. If we run it now, Rucal is not defined, and that's correct because it's not something use and typos. So the crawler is run from the command line in the same way as the previous one, but it will not terminate, at least not for a very long time, until we halt execution using Control-C or by closing the terminal. And let's talk about logging with Scrapy. The debug information generated by Scrapy can be useful, but it is often too verbose. You can easily adjust the level of logging by adding a line to the settings.py in your Scrapy project, which is this file right here. So in here you can add this line, log level equals to error. And there are 5 levels of logging in Scrapy listed in order here, which is critical, error, warning, debug, and info. So if logging is set to error, only critical and error logs will be displayed. If logging is set to info, all logs will be displayed, and so on. To output logs to a separate log file instead of the terminal, simply define a log file when running from the command line with this line, Scrapy in small, not capitals, typo, crawl article.json, and the log file equals to the log file name. So this will create a new log file if one does not exist in your current directory, and output all logs to it, leaving your terminal clear to display only the Python print statements you manually add. So Scrapy uses the item objects to determine which pieces of information it should save from the pages it visits. This information can be saved by Scrapy in a variety of ways, such as CSV, JSON, or XML files. So if we go to our command line and articles, if you want to have it in JSON format, we can do JSON, or we can have articles.csv and CSV, or we can put articles.xml-t and then XML if you want, but let's put it in JSON format. So if we let it run for a while, so let me just stop it and console, go to our terminal. You should have a JSON file. Sorry, I just had to check something. For some reason, the last script that I wrote, for some reason, it did not create any items in the JSON file, so I'm just going to try again with my other test script, which is identical. I'm going to call it JSON3. And let's stop it. So it's created JSON3. Same thing there, nothing happens, but and I'm not sure why it's doing that. Sometimes it's working and sometimes it's not. Might be because of the different because I created two spiders named article. So anyhow, you should not have a problem creating this the first time if you just followed along. And .json. Okay. So this is the file that is created. For some reason it should have, yes, I was just having this ending square bracket at the end, which was creating the JQ reading. This is the content that we have crawled with Scrapy. So of course you can use the item objects yourself and write them to a file or a database in whatever way you want, simply by adding the appropriate code to the parsing function in the crawler. Scrapy is a powerful tool that handles many problems associated with crawling the web. It automatically gathers all URLs and compares them against predefined rules, makes sure all URLs are unique, normalizes relative URLs where needed, and recurses to go more deeply into pages. So although this tutorial hardly scratches the surface of what Scrapy is capable of, I encourage you to check out the Scrapy documentation or many of the other resources available online. Scrapy is an extremely large and sprawling library with many features. If there's something you'd like to do with it, do with Scrapy that has not been mentioned here, there's a likely way or several ways to do it. So definitely check out Scrapy documentation, and if in the future I'm able to do a full focus on Scrapy, make a tutorial based on Scrapy, I'll do that. So I hope you have enjoyed this intro on Scrapy, and if you did, please subscribe, hit the like button, comment, share the video if you can, and help me out in any way. And thanks so much for watching, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye.